I've been meeting a lot of new people lately. Okay. And anybody who's in our industry knows that when someone asks you, hey, what do you do for a living? If you're in our industry, it's always really hard to explain it. Right. Funny joke. A few years ago, we had an executive assistant. She was my EA. She was like straight out of college, knew nothing about engineering. And we were in a staff meeting. And as just like a funny exercise, we went around the room. We said, hey, how do you, when people ask you what you do for a living, how do you describe it? Because it's one of the hardest things in our industry to explain what we do, right? It's a running joke. And we're going around the room. We get, her name is Brittany. And we get to Brittany, and Brittany says, oh, I just tell people we build robots. And it's like, what? Everyone busted out laughing. Because we do not build robots. We integrate with robots. We don't build them. But she told people we build robots. By the way, that was like in 2016 or something. That we still laugh about that in our office today, that she said that. But I've been meeting a lot of new people lately, and they're invariably, we get to the point in the conversation where they ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, do you want the Cliff Notes version? Do you want me to just give you the touch and go, or do you want Cliff Notes version? You want the full thing? And most of the time they'll say Cliff Notes, right? So, Hot Black Desiato, that's a good one. He says, I say I'm a doctor for factories. I like that. That's a really good one. I might steal that. It's Hot Black Desiato. Yeah. So what I say is this. I say I'm an engineer by trade. So I have degrees in sociology, electrical engineering. My graduate work is in education. But I'm an engineer by trade, and I'm now an entrepreneur, and I own a firm in Dallas, and I do education and outreach. And then they'll say, what is it you do? And I say, well, what we do is we're trying to save and create middle-class jobs in the United States by using technology to help manufacturers do more with less. So, and most of that is collecting data and turning it into information, right? We teach people to build robots. And then eventually I get to the last point, which is, we basically are helping manufacturers become more like Tesla and less like Ford and General Motors. And they know exactly when I say that, what I mean. Interestingly, more like Apple and less like AT&T, right? They know exactly what I'm saying when I say that. So, but one of the things that comes up in these conversations and is, I had this conversation Sunday night, and this lady asked me, she's like, how much time do you have to put towards your work? And I said, well, I'm always at work, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm always at work. My head is always in the game, always. But I'm also always at home. And she said, well, if you're always at work, how do you always do your best work when you're dealing with challenges? And we were talking about divorce and all this stuff. And I was like, oh man, that's a really good topic for the podcast. I immediately thought that. And here's why. I'm only going to touch on it briefly. Because I don't think this isn't an area of our industry that we talk about enough. So we don't talk about, as a community, we don't talk about burnout. We don't talk about how to stay focused when you're dealing with personal challenges. We don't talk about how to dig through all the work that you have when you come back from vacation. We don't talk about how to deal, how to get caught back up when we come back from being sick. We don't talk about those things, right? Well, what I said was, there's no way to catch up. I said, when I going through my divorce, I was distracted. As much as I didn't want to be, I was. I have kids I had to worry about. I had deeds to sign and lawyers to meet with. And if anyone's gone through a divorce, it's not a it's a really, really, my divorce was about as amicable as it could possibly be. And it was still incredibly hard. Super, super, super hard. Right. And how does, I have all these employees who are counting on me to do a great job. And how do I stay focused? And the answer is I built the right team. I chose to be a part of the right team. I put the right people around me. And then I was transparent with them about what I was going through. My whole team knew that I was going through it. Well, not the whole team, not all the engineers, only the lead engineers knew. But the executive leadership team, my team here at 4.0 Solutions, Alan and Cheryl, they were brought into the loop as early as I could reasonably bring them in. And I told them the truth, told them what I was going through and that I needed their help and that I'm trying to take the high road the best I absolutely possibly can. And, I'm going to have good days and bad days. And when I have bad days, I need you to have my back. You have to do the same thing when you're dealing with challenges. When someone passes away, like here at 4.0, when someone loses a loved one or someone gets sick, kids are having a bad time at school, whatever it is. A member of our team, these are the best engineers in the world. They will send a message in our Teams channel. Hey, my aunt is ill, or my wife's not feeling good, or one of my kids got in a fight at school and I need to, and, they'll say, I need a day to make things right. And we say, take 3. When you're on the right team, okay, when you're on the right team and you surround yourself with the right people, when you're dealing with challenges, they're going to make your burden their burden. Okay. They're going to make you a better version of yourself. They're going to hold you up just like you hold them up. And one of the things that I want to encourage everyone is that if this isn't something you consider when you decide what organization you're going to go work for, what team you're going to join, what team you're going to build, you're making a mistake. The wise man once said, and I don't know who said it, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you hang out with 5 losers, you're invariably going to be the 6th. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That is your team. In my family, it's my kids and my daughter and my sons and their partners. We're all big family. And I would love, and I know I'm the average of all those people put together, and that is good enough for me. My executive leadership team, if that, I'm the average of that group of guys, and that is good enough for me. My engineering team, I am the average of that group of girls and guys, and that is good enough for me. The best way to deal with challenges is to not deal with them yourself. And as an engineer, as an Industry 4.0 professional, this is a super, super high pressure job. A lot of people are counting on you. Everybody wants a shit yesterday. You're dealing with problems, trying to solve problems no one's ever solved before. Okay. Every day is a different problem. When you're working that environment, the quickest way for you to get sidetracked and derail your career is to have some major life event come in and blow your fucking world up. And if you're on the wrong team, that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to blow your world up. So if you don't consider the team that you're on, if you don't ask yourself, who are the 5 people I spend the most time with? And if I average them together, who are they? Because that's me. You should start asking yourself that. Okay. All right. Appreciate everyone for your time this week.